Hello everyone. My name is Henry, and ever since I was young, I've been fascinated by science, especially how something invisible can power entire cities. Today I want to share my story of learning where nuclear energy comes from, and how atoms, the tiniest building blocks in the world, can create enormous power. My journey started when I visited a nuclear power station during a science field trip. From the outside it looked calm: wide lawns, security checkpoints, and two enormous cooling towers rising into the sky. Unlike coal or gas plants, there was no smell of smoke, no roaring flames, and no endless trucks bringing fuel. Everything felt controlled and quiet. And yet I knew I was standing near one of the most powerful energy systems on Earth. Our guide for the day was Dr. Marcus, a nuclear engineer who had spent years designing reactor safety systems. He greeted us with a friendly smile and said, "Welcome, everyone. Today you're going to see how the smallest particle you can imagine can light up an entire nation." We began in the reactor building, though we could only see it from a secure observation window. Inside, Dr. Marcus explained, are fuel rods made from uranium. Uranium atoms are special because when one of them splits, it releases heat and more neutrons, tiny particles that cause other atoms to split. That process, he told us, is called nuclear fission. I had heard the term before in science class, but seeing it explained here made it feel real. Fission creates a chain reaction. One atom splits into two smaller atoms, releasing energy, and that energy triggers the next split, and so on. But unlike explosions or uncontrolled reactions, a nuclear reactor carefully manages the process. Control rods made of special materials are lowered to slow the reaction when needed, and raised to increase it. Everything is measured, monitored, and balanced. Next, he showed us the coolant system on a large diagram. Inside the reactor core, nuclear fission produces intense heat. That heat warms water, which turns into steam. Just like in coal or gas power plants, steam is the key to generating electricity. The steam flows through thick pipes toward massive turbines. When the high-pressure steam hits the turbine blades, they spin rapidly, converting heat energy into mechanical motion. Attached to those turbines are generators that turn that motion into electricity. Think of it like wind pushing a pinwheel, Dr. Marcus said, except the wind here is steam, and the pinwheel powers cities. After spinning the turbines, the steam travels into the condenser, where it cools and becomes water again. The same water is reused, forming a continuous loop. It was amazing to realize that the only thing needed to keep this cycle going was the steady release of energy. From uranium atoms, we moved to the control room, where large screens tracked every part of the system: temperature, pressure, coolant flow, radiation levels, and power output. Engineers sat at their stations, focused but calm. Everything was bright, modern, and carefully organized. Dr. Marcus assured us that nuclear plants are built with multiple layers of protection: thick concrete walls, heavy shielding, backup cooling systems, and constant monitoring. Nuclear energy, he said, is powerful, but it must always be treated with respect. Safety is not just a rule here, it is a culture. Later, we stood outside near the cooling towers where warm water vapor rose into the air like soft white clouds. It wasn't smoke or harmful gas, just steam. The plant produced enormous amounts of electricity with almost no air pollution, which surprised me. I had always imagined nuclear energy as loud and dangerous, but the reality was cleaner and quieter than any coal plant I had ever seen. Dr. Marcus also explained that nuclear energy helps reduce carbon emissions, especially as the world looks for cleaner solutions. Of course, he added, we must handle nuclear fuel carefully and store it safely after use. Science and responsibility must always work together. As he spoke, I looked at the large towers again and felt a sense of awe. It was incredible to think that hidden inside small pellets of uranium was the power to keep schools running, hospitals operating, and cities glowing through the night. On the way home that evening, I watched the sunset and thought about everything I had learned. Energy is something most people don't think about. Lights turn on, phones charge, trains move, and life goes on. But behind every switch, every bulb, every electric heartbeat of the city is an entire system of science, engineering, and human dedication. Nuclear energy, I realized, is a reminder that even the smallest things, atoms so small, we can't see them contain extraordinary strength. When used wisely, they can light up our world with almost no noise, no smoke, and no interruption. That day changed how I viewed electricity forever. It is not just power, it is knowledge, discipline, and discovery, all working together deep inside a reactor. And that is the story of how I learned to create energy from nuclear power, a silent force born from the heart of the atom, lighting cities, one split at a time.